Welcome in. It is day 35, and you are speaking with the Meeples Champion. So today we're jumping into one of the more popular games. I am so excited I got to finally play this game this year. It was on my list for a long time as a want to play, and I didn't have the guts to go off and buy it on my own without having played it first. I was very worried that it was not going to be that good, not as good as everybody was speaking. And it's a game that the theme, I was excited actually for my wife. So I really wanted to play it and see if I liked the game in general, and then try to get it to the table with her and see if she enjoyed the game mechanics, because the theme was one of her favorite things, and that's all about wine. We're talking about viticulture. So viticulture is a game all about trying to make your grapes, trying to tan them into the wine, trying to sell the wine, and slowly just becoming a better and better seller of wine. It's very interesting because you look at the board, and while I think it looks cool, you know, it's got its theme, it's prominent, it's a very nice, not a slightly darkish, but you know, it's an old school feel like art. You know, it's almost like a, you know, you feel like you're in a museum when you're looking at this board in a way. Like, this is not the average board game art, but it works. I think that was one of the things that grabbed me, was when I saw these big reviews and these playthroughs and these how to plays of this game when it first came out. I was like, okay, well, this looks kind of interesting. What is this? So I got it to the table, and we've played it, I want to say 3 times now, and it's been a fantastic play every time. I've definitely been able to figure out how the game runs. So I've actually been, I think, second place all 3 games out of 5 people every time. And it's always one of those, like, I'm in first, and I lose it at the end. But I'm right there competing. Really enjoyed the run through on this. It's primarily a worker placer, but it's interesting with the way they do the seasons. Because by using the seasons, you only have so many things available to you. So you have to be really, really mindful of, well, what am I going to do? Because I could use all my workers in the first season, and then we get to the second, and I have nobody left, and there's nothing I can do. That's a new mechanic for me. I haven't really seen that before. Well, let's jump in. We started to mention some of these things, but let's actually talk about it. So, section 1, the art. What do I think of the art? I've already said it. I think the art works for this game. I think that the box sells itself, grabs your attention. It's a different art. Giving it a huge thumbs up. I really appreciate what they did with this game. I think it was a risk. And I think when they were prepping this, they probably were saying that to themselves. Like, you know, this looks beautiful if we were putting up a piece of work, you know, art in a winery, or if we were doing this on a vineyard. But this is a board game. Is that going to grab the eyes of gamers? It did. It did in a big way, and it did for me. So huge thumbs up for the art. The components. The components are very nice. You have a lot of wooden components primarily, and I really appreciate the fact that, like, there's a bunch of ways to improve your options on the board, and every one of these pieces is designed to look like the piece of machinery that it's coming in to become. So as you slowly get a bigger house, or you decide to expand with a certain piece of machinery out on the board, you have this little piece that looks like it, and you just place it right on its spot, and now you know it's active. And suddenly you have this additional option for, hey, I could already go to the spot before, but now it's easier to go there, or it gives me out more of a payout when I go there. So the pieces are really nice, as well as the cards. You know, they're smaller cards, which is fine. You see these in a lot of games, these smaller type cards, but it's really well designed as far as, I don't expect these cards are going to just rip. I don't expect these cards are going to be, you know, destroyed. If you treat your games well, these cards are not going to turn on you and fall apart. So I give a big thumbs up to the components. Price. It's an expensive game. We already know that. The game is heavy. Yes, you're going to be paying at least $60 for this. You know, with today's days, you know, never know what's going to happen with possible price gouging because of all the deals with shipping and all that. But for me, this is worth its price. You can find this in a Barnes & Noble. You can find this in any game store. You'll find this on Amazon. I don't know about Targets. I don't think this has really reached into there. What you will find it at is some places at some wineries. Now, I actually just recently was in Italy. Many of you know that there is a Tuscany expansion. I was in Tuscany, And I had the opportunity to talk to some people who were at vineyards or who owned vineyards, and they told me like, oh yeah, we know about this game. And like, you go into any vineyard here in Tuscany, and you're probably going to find at least a copy of the game, if not a few of the games there to be sold, because why wouldn't we? It's a game that's promoting what our entire countryside is doing. So that's pretty cool. There's a whole new section where a game can be found now because of what it brought, something that had not been seen in our community before. Suddenly, viticulture is an option for a location to find board games. So big thumbs up when it comes to the price. Difficulty. It's not easy. I wouldn't recommend this for young kids or for first-time gamers. I definitely think if you had had me get to this game 2 years prior to when I did, I would have been a lot more confused. If I had gotten to this game 5 years ago, I probably would have been lost. I've gamed for a long time. I've been gaming for 15 years. And that's really since I discovered Catan, when I got back into games. And I've slowly upped in my difficulties through the years, and I find that I've, certain things I've gotten very good at. If you're talking about a deck builder or a worker placement, those are my expert levels. Whereas there's some other levels that may not be quite that high. If you're talking about area control and you bring me a really expert level, well, I probably haven't gotten beyond intro or maybe medium level type area controls. So if you throw something crazy at me, I'm probably going to be taking a bit to learn it. But this game, when I learned it, was really important because I wasn't overwhelmed. So it is a bit difficult, but that isn't a bad thing. This is a great game for core gamers. This is a great game for somebody who's really into that worker placement style and they're looking for a new adaptation of how it works. It's not simply worker placement. It's really having to pay attention to when you place it and how it's going to affect your next round, because it's all considered one big round and you're just doing them in a section. And that messes with people who aren't paying attention, who are really new to this. Usually a worker placement, that's not a worry. You can make mistakes and you'll be able to recover. Not in this one. So you do need to make sure that you're learning your worker placements. I'm going to give it a thumbs up on difficulty. Replayability. As I said, we played 3 times. Is it replayable in the same night? If you're core gamers and you're getting together for a Saturday and spending 8 hours playing games, yeah, you might play this back to back. But in general, I think this is more of an interesting one because if you're playing once a week, one game, like my group does, then the likeliness is this is the type of game that you will see get to that table 2 or 3 times in a year, and that's a big number. There are not many games that go to 3 times in a year. For me, I think we played Dinosaur Island 3 times, we played Viticulture 3 times, and I can't think off the top of my head of another one that we played that many. We don't get many games picked 3 times. Twice, sure. We'll have a bunch of them. 52 weeks, we might play 35 to 40 games because there's probably going to be somewhere from 12 to 17 weeks of a replay. But how many of those weeks are going to actually end up being a second replay? Not many. Huge thumbs up on replayability. The routes to victory. There are a lot of ways to get to victory in this. You could be trying to improve for your making of the actual wine, which means you're going to actually have money coming in. That happens every time that you get to a certain point in the year. That's huge. It's not easy to do. I've literally never gotten paid the money. I once, in one of the 3 games on my last turn, managed to increase that by 1, so I would have been getting 1 money, but I never got the money. Whereas a friend of mine was getting paid 2 for most of the game because he really worked hard to get 1 wine all the way through and shipped, and as a result, he bumped up his money. Now, he went on that route, whereas something like me, I was doing many little cards and trying to do like, hey, I have a lot of stuff coming in. It's not going very far, but that's okay. I'm not trying to. I'm sacrificing it all to get more cards, to get more victory points. There's a lot of ways to do this, and you can adjust easily. If something's not working, you can take a shot, draw a bunch of your extra cards, take a look at them, say, hey, here's one that could get me some points. I'm gonna cash out that thing that didn't work for me and try to do this. Big thumbs up on the routes to victory. And unique. I already said it multiple times. I'll go back to it. That worker placement technique of seasons. For me, I've never seen it before, and it is a game changer. That idea of we have a bunch of places to go, but we only can go to these ones, and then when it's done, we can go to these ones. We have to wait until everybody passes. So if you pass, you're just waiting until everybody else has finished their turns. Once everybody passes, now we continue with player one and we go to the other side. But who do you have left? If you went into the round with 3 workers apiece, and somebody spent all 3 workers, they have nobody for the second half of the season. That's such a cool concept to me. I will take it and I will run with it. That one mechanic makes this game unique. Never mind that you have an amazing theme. Never mind that you're working with this interesting concept of trying to combine your white wines and your red wines and trying to see what type of wine you can end up. It's such a fun, everything about the game just feels different. And I really like that. There's risks to be taken, or you can be safe. You can play this game and really be all about trying to play it as like the theme itself, or you can play this game and be that, that person who's thinking about money and not thinking about being a good winemaker, which in life there are those. There's a reason why there's the cheap wines. Somebody who said, I'm going to take the easy way because I can make money without having to commit to a craft, compared to somebody who really commits and puts all this work in to get these really amazing wines out. And they're like, well, I may have only made 1% of the product you made, but my product is selling for 100 times per bottle. And as a result, I sell, 10 bottles and I've made the money you've made in the last, 10,000 bottles, really cool. So unique gets a thumbs up as well. This is 7 thumbs up in a row if I'm correctly remembering all this. It is a huge recommend. I think you should all give it a try. And I'm really excited to hear more people getting into the table. I'm excited to try the Tuscany expansion. That's definitely going to be the next play that we do, getting that out there. But this has been Viticulture. You are speaking with the Meeples champion on day 35. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.